Broadcasting live from the Albay PIO News Center, providing you the most exclusive news update from all over the province. This is News at 12. In the local scene, the provincial government of Albay is planning to establish a nursing home for abused, neglected, and abandoned senior citizens. The proposed facility will provide shelter, medical care, counseling, and social reintegration for aged residents. It will be managed by the Provincial Social Welfare and Development Office in coordination with health and social service agencies. Board member Glenn Casulia's Committee on Senior Citizens and Persons with Disabilities is leading the review of the proposed ordinance. Once approved, the measure will institutionalize Albay's commitment to protect and care for its senior citizens. In other story, Albay has launched a province-wide search for local government units with outstanding gender and development practices. The initiative aims to recognize innovative and effective efforts that promote gender equality and women's empowerment. All cities and municipalities in Albay can join as long as their God-related projects were implemented between 2024 and 2025. Entries must include a summary, a short narrative report, supporting documents, and a 10-minute video presentation endorsed by the local chief executive. Submissions are due on or before November 28 via email to the GAD office. Winners will be named in December and will receive cash prizes and certificates of recognition. The program encourages LGUs to continue creating inclusive and gender-responsive initiatives that uplift communities across the province. In other news, Governor Noel Rizal has reaffirmed his administration's strong partnership with the Department of Agriculture and PhilMec to enhance rice production in Albay. The governor recently inspected the recirculating rice dryers and rice mill plant in Barangay Tula-Tula, Ligao City. The facilities granted by the Department of Agriculture through PhilMec are expected to be officially turned over next month. The dryers can process up to 300 sacks of palay per cycle, while the rice mill can handle as much as 3 tons every 3 hours. Governor Rizal said the new equipment will reduce drying costs, improving grain quality, and increase productivity for local farmers. He added that the machines will help ease labor shortages and make farm work more efficient. The project is part of the Rice Competitiveness Enhancement Fund program, which provides post-harvest machinery to help rice farmers boost yields and cut costs. In the national scene, the Department of Environment and Natural Resources, DNR, is strengthening its role in monitoring the government's half-a trillion peso flood control projects as part of a broader interagency effort. In a statement, the DNR said it will continue tracking the projects as a member of the Interagency Subcommittee on Water Resources under the Infrastructure Committee, headed by the Department of Economy, Planning and Development. The move comes after the Senate Finance Committee asked the DNR to submit all its monitoring reports on flood control projects, many of which have been flagged as questionable. During a Senate hearing, Undersecretary Carlos David presented the agency's initial findings, which will still be validated by other agencies, especially the Department of Public Works and Highways, DPWH. DPWA Secretary Dizon clarified that some projects, such as the Laguna Lakeshore Slope Protection in Taguig City, are part of road works and not flood control initiatives. The DNR said it will continue improving its monitoring system with a more integrated approach to water resource and flood management. In other story, President Ferdinand Marcos Jr. has approved the Tatak Pinoy strategy as a comprehensive national plan aimed at empowering Philippine industries, increasing local production, and elevating Filipino products and services on the global stage. Formalized through Memorandum Number 104 signed on October 24, the directive orders all national government agencies, government-owned and controlled corporations, and local government units to support the rollout of the initiative. The Tatak Pinoy Council developed the strategy under the Tatak Pinoy Proudly Filipino Act, RA number 11981, through broad consultations with the government, private sector, and research institutions. The TPS sets out programs at the national and local levels to help businesses expand, innovate, and deliver world-class goods and services. To ensure transparency and public engagement, the Department of Trade and Industry, together with the Presidential Communications Office, will distribute the official copy of the strategy and make it accessible online. In other news, the Philippine National Police, PNP, will be on heightened alert from October 29th to November 3 as the country celebrates Undas. During this period, police officers will increase their presence by 25% in cemeteries, transport hubs, major roads, and other crowded areas. According to the PNP, regional commanders have also been given the authority to adjust deployments depending on local security conditions. A total of 50,253 police officers will be on duty, a significant increase from the 31,298 originally planned. They will be supported by 16,592 personnel from the Armed Forces, the Bureau of Fire Protection, and the Philippine Coast Guard, as well as 45,712 barangay tanods and volunteers. To help travelers, the PNP will also set up 5,015 police assistance desks across the country. NCRPO Public Information Chief Major Hazel Azilo reminded the public to avoid bringing firearms, explosives, alcohol, illegal drugs, gambling items, or karaoke machines when visiting cemeteries and columbaria. The PNP urges everyone to follow safety guidelines, remain vigilant, and cooperate with authorities to ensure safe and orderly commemoration of Undas. And into news outside the country, North Korea's top diplomat visited the Kremlin Monday for talks with President Vladimir Putin following last month's leaders' meeting. North Korean Foreign Minister Cho Son-hui expressed Pyongyang's unwavering support to Russia's war in Ukraine, according to state media. In recent months, North Korea has reportedly sent troops and military equipment to back Russia, reflecting Kim Jong-un's push to assert his country on the global stage and oppose the U.S.-led West. Pyongyang has avoided talks with Washington and Seoul since nuclear diplomacy with former President Donald Trump collapsed in 2019. Putin and Kim met in Beijing in September during a World War II anniversary parade. At Monday's talks, Putin asked Cho to send his regards to Kim, describing their previous meetings as very warm. In other story, China and the Association of Southeast Asian Nations, ASEAN, signed an upgraded free trade agreement on October 28, covering the digital and green economies and other emerging industries. ASEAN, with 11 member countries, is China's largest trading partner with bilateral trade of $771 billion last year. The deal strengthens China's ties with a region that has a combined GDP of $3.8 trillion and helps offset U.S. import tariffs. The 3.0 version of the agreement was signed at a summit in Malaysia following negotiations that began in November 2022 and concluded in May 2025. The original deal took effect in 2010. The upgraded agreement is affected or expected to improve market access in agriculture, the digital economy, and pharmaceuticals. China and ASEAN are also part of the Regional Comprehensive Economic Partnership, the world's largest trading bloc covering nearly a third of the global population and 30% of global GDP. Analysts say the bloc could help shield members from U.S. tariffs, though its rules are less strict than other regional trade agreements due to differing national interests. And finally, in the news outside the country, the Philippines will now chair the Association of Southeast Asian Nations, ASEAN, in 2026, a year earlier than planned. President Ferdinand Marcos Jr. announced that this at the 43rd Association of Southeast Asian Nations Summit in Jakarta. This change comes after Myanmar stepped aside due to political and human rights issues. As chair, the Philippines will host major summits with Association of Southeast Asian Nations leaders and key dialogue partners like Japan, South Korea, the United States, and China. To prepare, the government is requesting 27,280 billion pesos for 2026, with 17,500 billion pesos earmarked for Association of Southeast Asian Nation-related events. During a visit to Cambodia, President Marcos discussed trade, investment, and food security, and Cambodia pledged support for the Philippines' upcoming chairmanship. Overall, the early chairmanship highlights the Philippines' commitment to regional leadership and cooperation. And that's all for the News at 12, October 30, 2025. We'll be back tomorrow for more news updates. Thanks to our news writer, Albay PIO and Naomi Ruth Hernandez. And on the technical side, Chad Bovis. And our Provincial Information Officer, OIC Marty Gonzalez. And under the supervision of our Governor, Noel E. Rizal. I am Greg Hallare. Thank you for subscribing.